One morning, bright and early, Timothy went with Mom to feed the animals in the petting zoo.
Bah! Bah! Timothy, why is your smile so big today?
Because today, after I'm done feeding the animals, Mom said I could ride on the train.
Oh, wow! What fun!
After Timothy finished feeding all his animal friends, he and Cubby raced to the train.
Hi, Mr. Ted.
Mr. Ted liked to give train rides to Timothy and all the children who visited the farm.
Can Cubby and I sit up front this time?
Of course! Climb right up. All aboard the Orchard Express.
The train started to move. Timothy and Cubby smiled at each other. Mr. Ted blew the whistle and rang the bell. 1 time around the loop, 2 times around the loop, 3 times around the loop. Timothy and Cubby laughed with glee.
This is so fun!
Whee!
Oh, wow!
Yeah!
The train stopped, and Cubby and Timothy hopped off.
Thanks, Mr. Ted.
Oh, now I'm hungry.
Dad said we could pick apples for a snack.
Timothy picked 2 apples for Cubby and 2 apples for himself. They sat under the tree and ate their snack.
I like living on a farm.
Me too.
Timothy reached for his second apple, but it was gone. They turned around. Lovey Lamb sat behind them, eating Timothy's apple.
Silly lamb. You'd better get back to the petting zoo so the kids don't miss seeing you today.
Okay, but I just want to say that I like living on a farm too. Bye-bye.
John 17:17. Your word is truth.
One day, Cubby and Timothy were wandering around the farm when Cubby noticed a strange sign on a building.
What is apple cider?
Apple cider?
Cubby pointed to the sign.
Oh, you mean apple cider. Dad said the C makes an S sound in the word cider.
So what's apple cider?
Well, it's a drink sort of like apple juice, but you can taste even more apples in it.
Cubby thought apple cider sounded quite delicious.
Oh, let's go inside.
No, Cubby. Dad said I can't go in there. That's where they make the apple cider, and some of the equipment is dangerous.
Cubby and Timothy walked to the playground, but Cubby couldn't stop thinking about apple cider. What did it taste like? Was it sweet? Cubby loved apples. He was sure he'd like apple cider even better.
Timothy, time for lunch.
Wait here, Cubby. I'll be back soon.
Cubby slid down the slide. Then he sat on a swing. But he didn't really feel like swinging. So he hopped off the swing and strolled over to the building with the apple cider sign. The door was open just wide enough for Cubby to peek inside the room. It didn't look very dangerous. Cubby tiptoed inside.
Psalm 51:4. Against you have I sinned. Psalm 51:4. Against you have I sinned, and done this evil in your sight.
Cubby tiptoed into the apple cider room and glanced around. In the corner, he saw something that looked like a merry-go-round for bottles. And would you believe it? There was an open spot just for him. Cubby hopped on and started to spin. A fountain of brown juice sprayed down his head. Could this be apple cider? Cubby tilted his head backwards and opened his mouth to let the juice pour in. Yum, yum, 100 times yum! It was sweeter than 10 apples put together. Cubby could hardly drink it fast enough. Uh-oh. A man wearing gloves was about to push a big bottle into Cubby's spot. Time to go! Cubby snuck over to the large metal tank. He pulled himself up and peered over the side. The tank was filled with apple cider, but Cubby couldn't reach the cider to get a good drink. Cubby thought and thought. Suddenly, he had an idea. He moved a stool close to the tank and climbed on the stool. He bent over the side of the tank and dipped his mouth into the cider. Now he could drink. He lapped and licked and slurped and sipped that tasty cider right up. He was enjoying it so much that he let himself slide in a little deeper until, whoops! He tumbled right over the side and kersplat! He splashed into the tank of ice-cold apple cider. Some bears can swim, but Cubby was not one of those bears. So he flung and flapped his paws in every direction.
Help! Somebody, please help me!
John 3:36. He who believes in the Son has everlasting life.
After lunch, Timothy ran to the playground.
Cubby! Cubby!
Timothy looked on the swings and under the slide. He even looked in Captain Chip's cruise ship. No Cubby. Katie Collie tugged on Timothy's pants with her mouth.
Cubby's in trouble. Come quick.
Timothy and Katie raced to the building with the apple cider sign. Timothy pushed open the door.
Wait, you shouldn't go in there without your dad.
Timothy kept going. He climbed on the stool and reached into the tank of apple cider.
Grab my hand!
Cubby clung to Timothy's hand with both paws. Timothy pulled Cubby up and out of the tank and set him safely on the floor. Cubby stood there, shivering and dripping a puddle of apple cider on the floor.
Cubby, what are you doing in here?
Timothy, what are you doing in here?
Dad, I'm helping my friend, Cubby Bear.
Timothy, I told you not to go in this room, ever.
But Cubby fell into the tank of cider and...
It's good to help your friends, but you still broke the rule. This room is too dangerous for little boys and little bears.
I'm sorry. I should have come to you first.
I forgive you. I know you'll remember next time. Come on, let's go into the bakery. Grammy Lois is handing out cups of fresh apple cider to everyone.
Timothy followed Dad into the bakery, but Cubby stayed behind. He thought he already had quite enough apple cider for one day.
John 17:17. Your word is truth.